Henri Termeer was one of the greatest, if not the greatest, leader in the history of the biotechnology industry. He created hope for millions of people afflicted with rare diseases by creating a sustainable business model for the advancement of orphan medicines. He also helped pioneer the Orphan Drug Act, but most of all, Henri taught us how to always put patients first. For me, Henri was a friend, a mentor, and an inspiration. His passing 3.5 years ago was far too soon, and his legacy must always be memorialized. And that's in fact what we've been able to do with the creation of the new Henri Termeer Square, a square that sits in the middle of Kendall Square, a community that he deeply loved. With this square, we can now always remember what Henri brought to this industry, what he taught all of us about patience, and we can remember his wonderful words of encouragement and his leadership for everything we do.
When I first came to work at Genzyme in the iconic Genzyme Center building, it was like coming to work in Henri's house. Everything in the building, from the design to the artwork, was guided by Henri's vision. But I soon learned it wasn't the building or art on the walls that defined Henri's legacy. It was the culture and the way of working. Buildings come and go, but culture lasts. Someone once asked if Henri was a genius. The response was, Einstein's a genius, Henri's a leader. That was his gift, leading people to solve problems. Innovation is an easy word to use, but it's the work that leads to innovation that matters most. It takes leadership to turn innovation into reality, to turn an idea into a medicine, and often more importantly, to lead through the hard times. And there will be hard times. How we approach them is so critical. When we keep patients at the center of everything we do, every other challenge pales in comparison to what they and their families are going through every day. Even though Henri was no longer working in the building, this culture was everywhere. It was the foundation of the Genzyme way of working. I've often said that Boston is the best place to succeed and fail because of the culture Henri helped create here for our industry. In Boston, we learn, adapt, and do it better the next time. Leadership isn't just about success. It's about managing and learning from failure. It's the hard times that show true leadership, not just the celebrations. Henri led Genzyme through many high points, but it was during the hard times that Henri was leading teams to fix what was needed. This is the culture I became a part of and embraced when I came to Genzyme. That is leadership. That is Henri's way.
Hello Cambridge, this is your Mayor, Sambal Siddiqui. I'm honored to be part of today's sculpture unveiling to honor Henri A. Termeer. Henri's legacy as a biotech industry icon and cutting-edge innovator lives on in the many patients' lives he's impacted and the future innovators he's mentored, whether he did it directly or not. His work and passion grew Cambridge into the biotech hub that it is now, where people from all over the world see us as leaders and innovators in the field. His legacy will undoubtedly continue to impact people and our city. And now today, his legacy will be further cemented in Cambridge by the sculptor Pablo Eduardo in what is now known as Henri A. Termeer Square in Kendall. I hope that those walking by this sculpture in the future are made aware of Henri's important work, that it serves as a visual marker to guide and nurture the biotechnology industry he helped transform, and that it inspires future biotech leaders in Cambridge and beyond. We lost Henri too soon, but his work and memory transcends his time here.
I am Adriana Termeer, Henri's daughter, and I'd like to welcome you to Termeer Square in Cambridge, Massachusetts, the innovation epicenter of America. We are so excited to have finished work on this tribute to my father, one of the pioneers of the biotech industry and a key figure in the development and evolution of Kendall Square as a thriving heart of scientific and patient centricity. It's been over 2 years since we started work on this project, and we are so thrilled by how it turned out. I'd like to take you on a tour so you can see it for yourself. The inspiration for this square was to honor my father's memory and legacy and serve as a future reminder of the passion he had for the patients that he served. My father was a tireless advocate for those patients and their families who benefited so much from the work being done by Genzyme and the greater Cambridge biotech community. The goals and objectives for the park and project were many. We wanted to create an open, green area amidst all the tall buildings in Kendall Square that would be welcoming to all who visited year-round and serve as a contemplative spot where grass and water could share space with stone and glass. Termeer Square should embrace the local community and make visitors feel comfortable when they visit and spend time looking into the placid reflecting pool or pondering the idea of a giving tree that was emblematic of my father's spirit. This wonderful spot may have someone's name attached to it, but it was designed to be a gift to all people. There are several features I'd like to tell you about. There's a curved granite wall seat that invites visitors to stop and rest for a while and contemplate my father's passion and all of the wonderful work being done for patients in this area and beyond. When you enter the square, you will notice that the grass rolls much like an ocean wave. He was always comfortable on the ocean, and our summers in Maine would find him happily sailing in our boat and rolling along with the waves. Termeer Square is a year-round destination, and I'm delighted that the seasonal ice skating rink, which will be installed shortly, has been retained. Of course, the Giving Tree area has special meaning to me, as it was one of my favorite books as a young girl. My father used to sit at the end of my bed and read it to me. He never grew tired of it, and nor did I. The book reminds me of my father's giving spirit, and I can feel it in this space. Now I'd like to introduce you to renowned sculptor Pablo Eduardo and to my mother, Belinda Termeer, who will tell you about the signature feature of the park.
As Adriana explained, we wanted to create a space and sculpture of Henri that pays tribute to a man who many regard as the father of biotechnology and who touched so many lives. And so with Belinda, we are pleased to reveal the sculpture. We chose to make it a life-size yet welcoming sculpture and sit it here in the square so that people could sit with Henri. Although I never met Henri, I was afforded an incredible opportunity to meet him this past 3 years during many meetings with Belinda and Adriana, who shared incredible stories and pictures of Henri with me. In creating Henri's statue, we wanted to articulate or elicit some emotional response from visitors. A sculpture that helped create an environment that fostered appreciation, enjoyment, and inspiration, and provides a sense of place that connects people to people and people to this wonderful space. And with the incredible work of Bob Corning and his team at Stantec, and the support of many family members, friends, and colleagues, I believed we have fulfilled that vision.
Thank you, Pablo, for so beautifully capturing Henri. You have made him appear as if he is engaged in conversation or answering a question from a colleague. And I hope that those who knew him, when they visit Termeer Square, are reminded of those warm moments they shared with Henri. I'd like to thank John Maraganori, CEO of Alnylam Pharmaceuticals, and Bob Coughlin, CEO of MassBio, for helping turn an idea for a tribute to Henri a reality. You were there with the Termeer family every step of the way and instrumental to actually making this happen. Thank you to all the members of the Termeer Tribute Committee and all of the donors whose generosity of time and funding made this project possible. Throughout this process, there were so many people involved in Termeer Square, and to each and every one of you, and from the Termeer family, Thank you. We are extremely grateful. I hope you have the opportunity to come enjoy the park and spend some time with Henri.
Hi, I'm Susan Alexander, Chief Legal Officer at Biogen. I've been around Cambridge since my university days, long enough to remember when it was a wasteland of abandoned industrial buildings. It's hard to believe that when you think of the Athens of ideas and industry that it is today. That's in no small part due to Henri Termeer's vision and his work to help patients. He understood what the industry could be and what biologic medicines could mean to patients. On behalf of the entire Biogen team, we are truly grateful for the pioneering spirit left by Henri Termeer and his unwavering focus to better the lives of patients afflicted with rare genetic diseases. Biogen is headquartered in the heart of Kendall Square, which is home to many of the best and brightest in the life sciences industry, including our employees and of other companies in the area. We're proud that his legacy will be forever cemented in our innovative community and will serve as a reminder for the critical work we do every day to improve lives and the relentless pursuit in solving some of the most complex healthcare challenges facing us today. His entrepreneurial leadership and mentorship paved the way for other leading biotech companies to grow and prosper. We are passionate about harnessing the power of science to benefit humanity, and Henri Termeer enabled that and embodied that for so many and provided hope to countless people across the world. The work in our industry is more important now than ever, and this tribute is a helpful reminder to each of us every day of our collective and collaborative purpose.
Hi everyone, I'm Dan Curran. I lead the Rare Genetics and Hematology therapeutic area for Takeda Pharmaceuticals. We are honored to recognize the life and work of Henri Termeer with the completion of the Henri A. Termeer Square, located in the heart of the biotech community in Cambridge, the community that Henri helped create and build. Henri was a trailblazer. He dedicated his life's work to serving patients with rare diseases by developing transformative medicines which changed the lives of so many patients and their families. But he did more than that. He always put the patient first. He made sure that patients had access to these life-saving medicines. He truly embodied what our community desires, putting the patient first, putting the patient behind everything we do. Our industry has made tremendous strides in diagnosing and finding medicines to treat patients with rare diseases. But there's so much more to do. We hope to one day bring functional cures to patients with rare diseases.
Most of us who have gathered here virtually today knew Henri Termeer, the biotech leader, the legend, the senior statesman, the wise old man. Of course, I knew that man too. But I was fortunate enough to know yet another Henri, young Henri, Henri the inspirational leader, the feisty fighter, the tireless builder, the man on a mission. When in January 1987, Henri saw the early data from the NIH trial on Gaucher disease, he immediately decided that glucocerebrosidase was to become the premier, most exciting project within the portfolio of Genzyme programs. And soon he set out on a plan to build a company to support and grow what ultimately would become a thriving orphan drug business. In fact, his vision was far bigger than that. Henri was determined to build a diversified medical products company. And to do that, he embarked on a series of acquisitions and financings that fueled the growth of Genzyme for the next 2 decades. Hidden behind all that activity was the human side of the transactions. Not only did Henri get involved personally in negotiating and executing the transactions, but he reached out to each new organization, the management team, the employees, inviting all of them to come and become part of the Genzyme family and have a chance to share in the dream. Henri cared much more than just building a successful company. I can't think of anyone in our industry, in the world of biotech and pharma, who helped bring much needed drugs to the market, cared about his patients, fought to set the right tone in the public debate, who worked to unify the industry, mentor the young, or cared about his community more than Henri. So, with this dedication of the Henri A. Termeer Square in the heart of Cambridge, let us all remember forever the immeasurable contribution that Henri made to the improvement of the human condition. Thank you.
When I first met Henri Termeer, I was serving in the Massachusetts House of Representatives. He would come over and teach us how important that the life sciences industry was, not only to Massachusetts, but was to patients. Henri was all about solving unmet medical need. If it were not for Henri, there would not be a biotechnology industry, and we certainly would not, here in Massachusetts, be the best place in the world for the life sciences. When Henri passed, there aren't words that could describe the loss that people like myself and so many others felt. You know, Henri spent a great deal of time working with all of our member companies at MassBio. He spent a great deal of time teaching me as to what we needed to do so that we could be successful. And he constantly reminded us how important our work is. When Henri passed, several folks got together and we knew that we had to do something special. We had to build a living legacy that will keep Henri's message of patient-centric innovation going. You know, the Henri Termeer Square does that. I can't tell you how excited I am, and on behalf of MassBio and all of our 1,400 member companies, how honored we are to be a part, with so many others, all of you included, to make this a reality. We now know that Henri's legacy will live on, and we will have a place here in Kendall Square, in Henri Termeer Square, where younger people who come into this industry will be able to go and learn about Henri, learn about patient-centric innovation, and actually spend time. I know that I'm going to enjoy going there to sit alongside Henri and be able to finish conversations that we weren't able to finish, as well as just ponder, you know, what would Henri do in a situation like this. So it's a special time. Can't thank everybody enough who was involved. Especially my co-chair, John Maraganore from Alnylam, in working with the Termeer family and Belinda. Thank you so much for letting us be a part of it.